podcast you cheer for. Sneakers, business, talk. It's the Soul Material Podcast.
Yes. It's the Soul Material Podcast, the podcast you cheer for. I'm your boy, the OGEO.
All right, it's T Mark the Street Shark, ready for some sneaker business talk.
Indeed. And what we're going to do today is have a little bit of fun to talk about some of the shoes that had some of the best packaging with the releases. So as Shark would say, the gift that keeps on giving. So opposed to those shoes just come with just the maybe additional set of laces and just the tissue paper in the box itself. We're going to dig into some of our favorite releases of all time that came with things that just were memorabilia, maybe collectibles. And as you know, the Shark is huge on the toy game, particularly the 80s and 90s toy game. So I'm going to sit here and be a witness because we have not talked about this prior. So this is a surprise to me, some things he may have on his list. And I have a couple on mine. Of course, being from DC, I got to pay homage to home. But I have one in particular that just came to mind that I'm going to drop too. So Shark, you go first, man. Let us know what's on your list for the best release shoes that came with more than just the kicks.
Yeah, so again, it's all about the attention to detail that we love over here. We love the storytelling. So sometimes, yes, not just about having an extra pair of laces. Sometimes it is, but you know, you got some extra charms with it. It's, you know, down to like the tissue paper or the box. Sometimes the box is a part of the story, you know, so it's almost like the art of the box in itself like enhances the whole thing, let alone some of the auxiliary you know, pieces, like it's a Cracker Jack box or something, or that cereal prize where you just get that little extra on top that just makes it worthwhile, especially when you're a collector. So I'll actually start first with a recent release, and then we'll just go backwards into the nostalgia. So one I just wanted to point out, great execution on the new Paul George's. What are we on, 6? You know, when we have the Hot Wheels edition. So this one is when they actually got the license and went all the way through. So it's not even an inspired colorway, like you're literally using their trademark logo with the checker print tongue and then the flames on the side. You know, if you've seen some of the viral videos online, they actually made a real car, you know, and pulled up on PG, and he had I wanted to release the little racing jacket that he had on in the promo vid, but they also really collabed with Mattel, and they did release a Hot Wheels version of the you know, inspired by the sneaker. So they had a car, but unfortunately that you couldn't get those at the same time. So that would have been cool if you got to do it at the same time, but you had to actually go to the Mattel site. And then, you know, for those that listen, they know that I'm a collector, so I have an account with Mattel Creations for some of their special collabs. But that one was a little pricey, and when you're doing those things, because it was like $40 for one Hot Wheels car, and it had a special. It was like a box within a box, so even the Hot Wheels had a Nike box, special Nike box that it was inside of. But some of those things are just produced for you know, production cycle. So you're paying, you're pre-ordering now, but it's not going to come for like 4 or 5 months. So not worth it on that tip, but. Shoes are great, you know, so I'll just point to a similar execution, especially the holiday season or whatever. Just go back to the nostalgia, the Transformers, the first Calvin Johnson, the Megatron Nikes, where they actually did the license with Transformers. So they got to use the logo, and they had the purple and red for the Decepticons with the gray metallic grid on there, and the first Megatrons with the strap on them. Classic. And then it came with a Transformer, and it was in a separate box that looked like a mini Nike box and had the Transformers logo on it. And then it was like a football that transformed into a Transformer, a Decepticon. So again, attention to detail, I love it. The storytelling, it literally came with a toy like it was a Happy Meal. So I was happy. So it's always a great collector's item when you put that cherry on top.
Keeping that same energy, Tony, a release came to mind And we were there. And I don't believe it was this long ago, but it was 2007, if I recall. And it was the Reebok Voltron pack.
Mm-hmm.
And man, oh man, you talking about attention to detail. Everything from the colorways that were used using their 5 most popular models, to the materials, to the whole, it's a black lion, the red lion, the blue lion, the green lion, the yellow lion. So each model represented the color of the lion. You bought all 5 of them came together. And I remember the packaging. I remember just when you open it up, it was almost like your shoes were in a glass case, if you will. It was plastic, of course. When you open up the box, the other side had the Voltron story about your particular lion. And my favorite, of course, were the ventilators, so the blue lion and the pump that was the D Brown pump. And that one was the yellow lion. OMG, like everything from the execution to the packaging to the fonts, everything looked like it was something that the people that actually created Voltron would have done themselves. That's how well put and how elegant that was. So back then, collaborations and so forth, what you mentioned, it was just big business at that point in time. So the timeliness wasn't as great as it could have been, because at that point, everybody was doing something with that theme. And I think Reebok kind of just jumped on the wagon. And I still think to this day, with all these years later, that pack does not get the respect that it deserves.
Yeah,
it was
it did
so well.
It
Man.
didn't. They might have needed to wait for the Netflix Voltron to come out or something for it to kickstart that franchise, because that was so niche. So yeah, I can roll with you because I got the Red Lions. So the Instant Pump Furies were those. Yeah, so I had the Red Lions. So shout out to Rudy and Hendry. Like that was a boutique that was ahead of its time. That's where I got mine from in RVA. So friend of a friend. Shout out to the Henry crew. That was a moment in time that was ahead of its time. So I'm referring to a sneaker boutique that was way years ahead of its time. And I wish that it might have taken on a little bit more if it was in a different time, but right on with what needed to happen. Because that was back when they had official accounts. That was a real Reebok account, not no consignment shops. They had real accounts with New Era and Reebok. So let's see here. So another one, so not necessarily the cartoon collab, but I really wanted to just shout out an artist who's been killing in the game too, just as far as with the customs and the collaborations, especially with Puma. We got Alexander John, all right, and so a lot of the Puma collabs that you're seeing, he's really behind the scenes, or with some creative direction and the curation with some of the custom colorways. So I'm just going to point to the mixtape RSX Pumas that it has the A side and the B side, and it has like the Yo MTV Raps font on there, and crazy designs on the A side and the B side, and you even have shout out to Emory Jones as well, because he has his own logo that's on there. So that shoe, again, this is one that if you got to have the shoe to know that it came with extra stuff. Because I know the blogs picked it up, and Jay-Z, Meek Mill, a couple people, celebrities was rocking them. They did have the red, white, and blue colorway, the same one. They had a general release, but then they had the friends and family ones. They had special laces, and then they had a special release that I got to cop. Aside from the aesthetic, because I love the box, because the concept is like when you get the box, it looked like just a brown box, but it's really a special box that's actually put together inside out. So I just really like the details of just that thought process of not being inside of a box and all sorts of stuff. And then actually it comes with 2 figurines that look like cartoon versions of Emory Jones and Alexander John. And they have like the in a little Ziploc plastic bag. So they actually come with figures, and again, the box is purposely inside out with Puma. So it's just that 90s Yo MTV rap vibe going on. So that was my next one. That's the Puma RSX mixtape A side B side that actually came with some toys. So I really like that.
I would be remiss. Something just came to mind when you were talking, Tony, if I don't mention this release. And gosh, it's been 5 years already, I believe. The Kyrie, the cereal pack with the Cinnamon Toast Crunch and the kicks, and I believe it was the Lucky Charms as well. But the pack that came with the bowl and the spoon and the packaging, out of sight and done extremely well. Again, Nike finally, because they had a history of not doing licensing, but doing colorways and fonts and so forth, paid for the licensing. And that was just a well executed pack all the way around, from the colorway that was used. I'm big on not only the colorways, but color placement and the packaging, out of sight. And again, I know we're talking about toys a whole lot, but I wanted to kind of differentiate a little bit, like what's the shoe that came out that had something a little bit different. And that's something that I don't think that was done, not in my lifetime, not with the cereal bowl and with the spoon and with the shoe. And then Kyrie having his own like rendition of, if he was on a box, like it was a Wheaties box almost. I just really, really liked that pack overall. And the kicks were dope overall, particularly Cinnamon Toast Crunch color was my favorite. I know a lot of people loved the Lucky Charms one and the kicks once. It was always a huge debate about which one was the best.
Yeah, I mean, Kyrie, especially a couple of those early models, had some really good execution points. I could point to the Kyrispy creams as well, because those were the ones that I think that they had the strap on them when they won the championship, that they did that. And then they did the grassroots campaign where they literally had Krispy Kreme, trucks going around in different communities. And then that's how you got to cop the ones with the special box that looked like the Krispy Kreme box. You had to catch them on the truck to get those. So always love when you execute from beginning to end on some of those dynamics. So and then again, it's not always about the toys too. So like another one of my personal favorites was the Ken Griffey Jr. But like the presidential edition, where they looked like the denim with the gum sole on them, and it was the Griffey for president. So if for nostalgia, you had the Griffey for president, the original commercial, right? It was similar, that was around Little Penny time that was going on too. But the Griffey for president commercial, and then they made the colorway, and then they had like the presidential seal on it that looked like but it had the swingman on it. And when you opened it up, inside of that shoe, it came with like a Griffey for president like campaign like poster, and then it came with multiple bumper stickers that had Griffey for president, and it looked like the bumper sticker for like Griffey 96 or whatever it said on there, that made it look like with the stars and everything. I just thought that was authentic, and it was just a nostalgia point because I remember the commercial, and for them to do a retro plus colorway but reference the commercial of the original commercial, and then executed it all the way through. Again, minute little detail, but still extremely significant for that nostalgia, those nostalgia cool points for me.
And lastly, for me, I'm going to bring it on home, Tony, because you mentioned Henry, and shout out to Rudy and B. I have to mention one of my last times, I think the last time I actually stood in the line. And I was intentional about standing in the line because I wanted that experience, given that they were guaranteeing pairs as long as you were there, is the Under Armour Curry 1 retro, the Museum DC edition. And from the colorway being from DC originally, being from Northwest, Mo and G did an excellent job on those. Mo being from Northwest, and then G being from Southeast, and it was like two different shoes, but they collaborated in which it became one shoe. So of course now these days, particularly in DC, is like matching is like not matching. So that's always been the thing. But I always enjoyed collaborations like that bring things home. And they did things as far as putting like DC slang on the sole in your insole. They have the subway trains and the stops where they used to live, and the packaging. They actually had framed the actual silhouette, if you will, of the final touches and the final cuts of the design of the shoe and the color placement. So you see all these terminologies and so forth. You're not familiar with unless you are a sneaker designer, and they put you into that, let you know behind the scenes what went on and what was finalized. And then it came with, of course, additional laces because it's so many colors on the shoe. Then also came with 3 different colored, I guess, lace locks, if you will. So again, those weren't just for that shoe. You could put them on any shoe. So again, the gift that keeps on giving. You got something that you could frame in your house from the area or love to shop or so forth. So you got to, something as far as memorabilia from that point. Got something you could throw on other shoes. And then you have the shoe itself. And of course, talk about the box and the packaging. And it also came with a personalized letter from Mo and G themselves, signed, just saying, thank you for your support. This means so much to us. And Curry actually wore that shoe more than a handful of times last season. And what happens? He wins a championship and finally gets his first finals MVP. So all the way around, man, just really like that shoe. And I rock it all the time. And I'm looking forward to him doing more collaborations with Under Armour. But again, shout out to Mo and G for executing that and being homegrown and having the opportunity of having that 90s nostalgia where you got in line. It was no drama. It was no beef. Everybody got their shoe. They fed folks. It was like a community and like a celebration, if you will. And I miss those times. So getting that time back, I even took my daughter with me so she could have that experience of being in the sneaker line and seeing how it's supposed to be, not all this craziness that we deal with online and overpricing and so forth. So just bringing it home overall. That's the last shoe that I remember as far as this was last February. Just an excellent release overall and well executed.
Nice. So the last one I'll bring up is more of a nostalgic collaboration. It's Adidas. Adidas has done a pretty good job with some of their collaborations, especially their franchises that they have the actual licenses to, because they're getting into the South Park right now. They had a lot of a deep run with the Simpsons. And this one that I'm going to talk about is actually the Home Alone. The low top forms. And with those, you could actually get them at a good deal if you waited it out, because it came out last year and they sat around for quite a while. So I know I paid like $65 for mine, but I couldn't wait because the detail on those are crazy. Like they're a little like off-white, and they're so I already like that they're like that creamy off-white. Even the red stripes on there have a little singe in there that look like, when the different moments of the Home Alone original movie where, things are singed. They have the M on the back with the McAllister that look like the doorknob. The tongue is that brown like varsity felt material that's like you see on a varsity jacket, where that's meant to be like the welcome mat. And what I really love that it comes with three sets of insoles. All right, and each one has a different print. My favorite one is the main character Kevin, when he has all his tricks and gadgets. Part of the movie is when he actually like unrolls his blueprint to it. So the sole is the blueprint, and they have another one with the two robbers, what I'm saying, and then they have another one where they're like tarred and feathered because those are nostalgic moments in the movie. And not only does it come with that, it comes with a ton of lace charms as well. That comes with it. I swear it comes with like 6 of them. So I probably won't do it justice. I can't name them all, but it has like the little iron. It has the broken Christmas ornaments. It has crowbar and a couple other things. It has like the little bucket from when the thing swung down and hit him in the head. I think there's a spider as well because there's a little tarantula action in there. So just all of the things that just represent that classic wacky movie, Home Alone. That's just a childhood memory of that movie coming out. I feel like if you didn't get, did everyone get that one year for Christmas in a VHS? You know what I'm saying? That and like the Ninja Turtles Secret of the Ooze, I think I got them at the same time. But yeah, that collaboration, and for the quality, for the price that you would pay for it. And now this year in 2022, for this holiday season, they continued that franchise, and now the next colorway was like this white and gray, because it's for Home Alone 2 with the pigeon lady. So it's the same thing. They don't have 3 insoles, but they still have a bunch of charms that relate, because that's a stable character. And Home Alone 2, that helps him through his adventure, is the pigeon lady in Central Park. So
no question.
Home Alone, classic nostalgia. And then my last name is Martin, so just having the M with that big, with the symbol on there is always something pretty cool. And might see me rocking them on Christmas Day or something like that, just for the vibes. Need some red flannel and some Home Alone shoes.
And it's funny, Tony, because in closing, I'm gonna tell you, if you actually Google a list of best shoes with accessories and or this, that, and the third, everything that we have touched on, I haven't seen them on the list. So I'm saying to myself, how many of these blogs just steal information from each other, just regurgitate the same thing over and over and over again? And then, my nephews and my daughter says, oh, I guess that's what's popular. I'm like, no, be out here, get out here, like what you like, and then come up with your own list. So that's the reason why, hey, clear over popularity is about art of acquisition, not just going out there and Googling and seeing what's hot or seeing what's being liked and saying, hey, I'm going to do this. So the shoes that we mentioned, man, I don't see those on blogs being mentioned that much at all.
Yeah, and we're talking about just a snapshot, some of the things that we like, and because there's been plenty of collabs and then the unofficial collabs where they didn't have the licenses, but they still tried to do the mock-ups and everything else in between. Because there's been, especially Nike, they've done a lot of the informal stuff. You know what I'm saying, with the Transformers, the Fantastic Four, Air Force Ones, that was never official. You know what I'm saying, with the actual license and logos, with some of that stuff. But that's why the ones that are official, that's why I was surprised about the Megatrons when I was like, are they really going to do it all the way? And then they did it all the way. So always really happy when they go that extra mile, because again, clarity over popularity, like what you like. Oh, okay. So that's why, you might not even know that there was a Voltron pack with Reebok that actually had the toys, which is like, Reebok does a pretty good job. Their Nerf collection was good, and with the box art on those were crazy. Shaq has a number of collaborations with colorways out right now, and AI's been doing them. So I really like the Jurassic Park collection that Reebok had as well, because that was well executed. Each shoe had a different box and it represented something totally different about the movie.
You mentioned the Pumas, the Thundercat Pumas. You got to mention those. We're just going to throw stuff out there.
Oh yeah, Thundercat Pumas. I wish they picked a different model, but still got them in the first place. That was kind of caught you off guard. There's Masters of the Universe. There was a Puma that came out, and then there's actually a whole with the Revelation series on Netflix with Masters of the Universe. They have a whole nother Puma collection that's dropping at the end of 2022. So, I don't see any of these sticker blogs talking about this stuff, which is crazy. That, these, Masters of the Universe just celebrated 40 years, and it's one of the top toy franchises ever. Okay. Ever. You know what I mean? So, and we're not talking about the sneaker collab that they're doing. Like, okay, I guess that's not popular. You know what I mean? But clarity over popularity. Hey, we like what we like, but we really lived it. We were really there. So, we're just going to keep spreading the joy, letting you know, because it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Indeed. So until next time, it's the OGEO.
All right, T-Mark the Street Shark.
Peace to you.
See ya.